following morning when it's, it's 20 degrees outside. I'm not going to send him out in a t-shirt, but I sent him out with his hoodie on, because usually he would have his hoodie on and his coat. And he was really bothered by the cold weather, and he was impacted by how cold it was. But again, like Teal said, you're assessing the safety. I'm not going to have him walk to school from home, even though I don't know. That's impossible for us. But I let him get a stretch of walking in the cold with his hoodie and not his coat, as a natural consequence of what happens when you leave your coat in school.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful example. That's a beautiful example. And that cold, that experience, feeling that biting cold on your arms, on your hands, on your cheeks, on your face, you have learned a lesson that Dad could not articulate to you. It's personal at this point. Now the value of the coat, based on the elements and the circumstances, heighten internally for you, where that becomes an incentive for you to remember next time. Any questions? Feedback? Natural consequences. So the next level, not as intensive but powerful, is related consequence. A related consequence is a consequence that is directly connected to the lack of compliance to the rule. Right? So, let's say you have a child, you set some rules and structure in place as relates to the bike, because you have identified, okay, he or she loves this bike. This bike is very important. I believe I can use this bike to teach, because they're so passionate about it. I know it's heightening their awareness, it's heightening their consciousness. There's some lessons associated with this bike. And so let's say you've set some structure and some rules around the bike. The bike only goes out after homework is completed between the hours of 4 and 5, right? And then you have some maintenance rules with the bike, because you're trying to teach your child how to take care of their things and how to value and to demonstrate their appreciation for what they have through how they are a steward over what they have. So, you're trying to teach them, listen, okay, so when you ride the bike, you ride it, enjoy your bike, then put your bike back where your bike is parked consistently. Put your bike up. And what you're doing, you're finding you're coming home from work, the bike may be a house down, laid on somebody's lawn, or the bike may just be leaning up against the curb and no one's outside unattended, or the bike just starts winding up in all of these spots, and you're continuously reflecting to them. Your bike is up the street. Your bike's in the driveway. You left your bike on the sidewalk. These things are not getting their attention, so you may want to put a consequence. Okay, so when the bike is not where it's required to be, you will lose access to your bike the next day. See, the consequence is the bike. You're trying to keep everything honed and focused in on the bike. You're using the bike and their relationship with the bike and their management with the bike as something to teach. That's a related consequence. Care for the bike. You get to enjoy your bike. You get to learn how to take care of your bike. When you don't comply with the rules that we have associated with the bike, you lose your privileges to the bike. So now, when you come home, I love riding my bike, but I can't ride it today because why? Because I didn't take care of it yesterday. See how the thought it remains on the bike, and the consequence keeps you focused on the rule that you violated, right? That's a related consequence, an unrelated consequence.
Hold on, can I ask?
Yes, sir.
The natural consequence for the bike is someone steals it.
Yes. Yes. Natural consequences, you lose your bike completely. Yes, somebody takes your bike. Or I run over your bike coming into the driveway because I didn't see it as I was backing up. You know, that's the natural consequence. But that bike may have cost a lot of money. It's a nice bike. I don't want to have to, you know. So you can move to the related. Yeah, that's good. We can use the bike. Natural, you lose the bike gets destroyed. You no longer have your bike. Related, you lose access to your bike for a defined period of time to help you learn how to take care of your bike. Unrelated consequence would be, okay, we're having this problem with the bike. I need you this weekend to paint the shed.
Or you have to go to bed early.
Yeah, you know, you have to go to bed earlier. You know, you lose access to dessert. You know, whatever. That would have been a big one for me. But see, that consequence, you know, if I'm doing some sort of laborious activity as a consequence for my bike, I may be begrudged at the fact that this is ridiculous. I'm out here painting a shed. You know, it's hot. This is way, like, there's no focus on the bike anymore. There's just this begrudged thing that's happening in your child now analyzing your sanity and your approach to setting rules, limits, and consequences. Yes?
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
My son has been not being on his best behavior in school,
Okay.
and school is really important, and he knows that, and he understands that. So when I get, concerns expressed to me by his teacher about him not listening, he's tantruming, things like that, I may tell him that, okay, well, you're not able to play your tablet when you get home for a little while, or play the game system. Would that be an example of unrelated?
Mm-hmm.
So what would be an
Worst thing in
appropriate?
the world,
Yeah,
though.
it's not
Right.
always going to be clean and linear.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So I'm
It's not going to
like,
be always clean and linear.
is he really learning? What I want to know is he really learning when I set that type of consequence in place on, about his negative behavior or his, not so great behavior in school? Is he really learning from that when I take away his access to his electronics?
What do you want him to learn?
How to behave in school. How
So
to
maybe
respond
you
to
can
a
structure consequence that focuses attention on behavior options in school that are behavior options that you believe would be best. Whatever that is for him at his age. If there's something that he usually does at a time that he enjoys, perhaps you can adapt that time to call his attention to the importance of conducting yourself appropriately when in school. I don't know, maybe there's some book at the library that could be a required reading for him. I'm sure they have a lot of children's resources and materials out there, that can translate those kinds of messages to young children that he doesn't usually read. It may be a time when he does his tablet, where instead of him doing the tablet, he has to focus his attention on this, and then have a conversation with you about what he learned in that. See how that just shifted? Now he's still being enriched, he's still learning about himself, he's learning some alternative things. Just taking the tablet away doesn't focus his attention on teaching him how to do what you're asking him to do in school.
Right. We talk about it, and I'll ask him, do you understand why I took it away? But I did not put something in place that I can, read on it and understand.
Yeah. Or it could be something on a tablet. If he usually plays games on a tablet,
Right.
it could be something related to
Some
school
reading.
conduct,
Yes.
and you have to read on a tablet.
Right.
And I think
That would be good.
that's important with making it connect and making it relate at some level, because I've often seen situations where, take the bike for example, the child was not a good steward over the bike and he didn't put the bike where he needed to put it, and the consequence is you have to read a book. I think that could be counterproductive because one is unrelated. In addition, you're creating an environment where the child is forming this relationship with reading as a punitive
Exactly.
activity. So I think that's the part that you have to try to balance. But I think it's not as punitive if it's connected to
The infraction.
the infraction
Right.
of behavior that he was exhibiting in school. It's connected, it's related.
Feedback.
Thank you. You want help? I can see some of these skills for my 4-year-old.